I have a Roman profile.
Well, yes,
I don't care,
you're beautiful, but
sure.
I don't like doing your profile.
The only way I can be beautiful is with surgical tools. You are beautiful.
You are beautiful.
Yeah, sure.
Please.
I love you.
But I don't even like to see myself on camera. So I have to set it up, and I get it. I have to be on. Am I on? Am I in frame? I am.
I hate seeing myself
Do
in
you
pictures.
really?
I hate sitting. I look old.
When we did Little Italy, he wouldn't watch it. I forced him because
I don't watch any of that crap.
So then he had to sit.
Really?
I'm shocked when it comes back good news. I'm saying, are they serious? What are they looking at?
Oh, please. No, it's good. You have to do it. You look good. So I have pictures of the two of us in your dressing room.
Yeah, I remember
and,
that too.
Yeah, it was great.
I have them as well.
I absolutely love that talk.
Yeah,
Since then, I have to tell you, I got your book, and because we booked that like a few days before, so I didn't have time to read your book.
Right.
But then I read it after, so I know all about you now, and you too, because you're in the book.
So she did buy the book.
Yeah.
And I bought it too. I bought it.
I think that's one of the most beautiful covers They did some job.
It is really nice.
Not so much me, just the colors. I love the colors.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
How big could a name be? I had nothing to do with it. I mean, it's huge.
It's got to be huge. That's why people want to buy it. So, by the way, here we are on, is it on or in Long Island? It's on, right? On Long Island?
I think it's in Long, we call it
in
in
Long
Long
Island,
Island, but I suppose it is on. Right, Lou?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you and I live right near each other. I just found out.
There's nothing for me to do, but I'm a boring guy to begin with, so I'm not fighting up against it because I just lay around. I do nothing unless I'm working.
Yeah. Well, I like to do things. Like I like to get out and do something, and sometimes I get so.
Well, this is my get out. Being out, getting older now. Even when I was younger, when I go to California to do a movie, I hated going there. But naturally, they would pay. They'd take me there. They would house me and pay me a lot of money, and then I couldn't wait to get home. And when I got home, I was a dead man. No, I'm a boring.
What do you mean?
Oh, man,
you just totally let it.
I do nothing.
So what do you do? You wake up and then what?
I read scripts and I do memory work with myself, not for any medicinal purposes, but I like to come on a script knowing the entire script and everything I'm saying, because I've seen too many embarrassing moments with actors who had aged, and I'm sitting there and they can't remember a line, and I said I can never see myself, hopefully, doing that. The embarrassment of not remembering lines is terrible. So it's like Carnegie Hall. How do you learn to play? You work, you practice. So all I do is read scripts. I read scripts and I memorize them. I got 4 of them in my head right now, amounting to maybe 350 pages, Louis. I can quote things from any of the 4 pages, but that's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
But those are the only things I do.
All right, but if you like doing it, and look what it does for you too, because as you get older, you do want to do those things, and they keep you on top of everything.
It's cool when I'm down. I don't need any of that when I'm on the stage, because there's very brief things that I say, and they're truly not remembered in any way. I just arbitrarily come out with words that might be spoken on the stage. I may have a feeling at a moment and say it, so I don't have to follow a script. I'm talking about when I'm singing.
Okay.
That's relatively simple, and sometimes maybe a little difficulty with some of the songs, not often.
Got new ones now you're working on?
I'm all brand new songs now, and I have the new album out. I don't know, I didn't have the album out when...
You had a Christmas album, and so it was Christmas when I saw you. So
that was a Christmas album,
yes.
I think.
So you even have a song that I got to play for everybody at the end of our episode, which was great. It was so good. Like I would love to hear the new music you have.
Yeah, well, we'll give you, I don't have the album, we'll send it to her.
We'll send it, just an MP3, and I can put it...
We'll send you a bunch of them. We got 6 albums.
Okay, cool.
The last one is called Hanging Out. It's like what we're doing now, hanging out.
There's nothing better than hanging out. It's now or never, I'm telling you.
It's now or never. That's it.
That's a beautiful song too. Do
Are
you
we
sing that
actually
one?
working now?
Yeah, we're working.
I love it.
This is how
Use
I do
what
it.
you want.
This is what I do. To me,
This
it's a
is
regular
great.
conversation.
This is great. I love it. Yeah.
I just want to talk, and last time that's what we did, and that's what I like to do. So let's not have a formal interview. Let's talk about whatever happens.
And then
to come
you ask
up.
me questions, whatever.
Yeah, I ask questions that pop into my head based on what you're talking about.
Gotcha, babe.
So one of the things I'm going to tell you, I asked you something last time, and what you just said reminded me. I asked you, it's a question I do like to ask a lot of people, which is, what's the image people have of you? Like people who don't really know you personally, who do they think Danny Aiello is?
Wow, I'm not a social person with social media and things of that nature. To me, it's a very dangerous thing for some people taking advantage in very bad ways and really affecting other people who they may be writing and saying things about. I don't like to see bad things about myself. I don't like to. And I always had the feeling in social media, people will tell you exactly what they feel about
yeah,
you
and like worse.
because they don't have to face you.
Yeah, there's no filter because
Unless
crazy.
it's Instagram or something, but
Yeah, by the way,
ordinarily-
Instagram, I'm just going to stick up for Instagram.
No, I don't know it.
I think Instagram is positive
best-
and friendly,
great.
and like what I get from fans of my show is all positive, not all,
Right,
but it's
right.
all, the nice things they say.
Yes.
It's upbeat. It's not like the others. So
Well, let me tell you,
Yeah.
Claudia, Louis' wife, sends me all my tweets. Now, I don't know if she's deciphering those things and saying what's bad or good, but
wait,
apparently
Claudia sends him the tweets that he
Well,
feels
she
like.
does.
that-
She treats
that
me-
she
on the-
feels-
sends me all good
whatever's on
ones.
the
Ah,
internet.
that's
And
nice.
I keep
The
thinking,
buzzes that
I
talk
think
I
maybe-
think it's positive
Well,
for you. I can't
if
I
imagine.
tell
Yeah,
you-
I can't imagine that there's
if I
negative.
tell you the tweets that she sent, they're fantastic. I begin to be, this is me.
Yeah.
Because whenever something happens to me in this business, I might have told you before, I often said, how good could it be if I got it?
You're crazy.
But I've always been that way, and that's why my book was called I Only Know Who I Am When I Am Somebody Else, because I was never able to truly enjoy a compliment the way people should. I should just take it, and that's it. Leonardo DiCaprio, Leonardo, we were at this function in Brooklyn, and this happens to me all the time, and I can't figure it out. Sometimes I think people are taking advantage, making fun in their own way. The first one, I'll mention James Gandolfini, may he rest in peace. He used to come to me every so often, and if I'm in a place, he'd walk over to me, and he would bow to me. He would genuflect and said, I honor you.
That's in your book. I read that. Yes.
This is Jim.
Yes.
This is a true story. All right, now let's go to Bradley Cooper. We went to see his movie, Sniper, or whatever it
American
was.
Sniper.
And we're sitting there, and we're about 20 rows back, and Bradley's up there being interviewed by the director of that movie. And Louis
Clint
and I
Eastwood.
are sitting with a crowd of people, and I looked at Louis, I said, this guy is looking at me. I'm talking about Bradley. Now, I'm maybe 50 feet in the back, and I'm saying, this guy's looking at me. Anyway, they finished their personal interview with the people, and he walks up. When we start to walk out, he comes running after me, and he says, I honor you. Look, did he?
And he said,
I honor you. I loved you in
Jacob's Ladder. when
in
you
Jacob's
quoted
Ladder
Nietzsche.
when you quoted Nietzsche. That was that. Leonardo DiCaprio. Last year, a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
we're at this huge party,
the
all
Monkeys.
Italian millionaires. Every one of them.
Whose
So-
party is this?
It was in Brooklyn. It was
for the catcher
Belmonte's
for the Mets.
restaurant.
Oh, okay.
And the guy that you know, Vinny Viola, is the man who was, he was Wall Street, big finance man. Trump had him as the Army representative, but he gave it up. He said he couldn't do it. He was too busy.
Okay.
He's a very wealthy guy. So he throws these parties. He had this party for an ex-Met. And I'm in the middle by myself. I think I was the only actor there, with the exception of Leonardo walks in, and he's taking pictures. He's sitting down. We're in the middle by ourselves eating, crowded restaurant. And Louis says to me, Leonardo DiCaprio's over there. He's taking pictures of you. I said, of me?
Wait, of you? And you
What
didn't
the hell
realize
would he
it?
want to do me for?
Yeah.
What, me? So he said, yeah, Louis. And then a man who looks like Salvador Dali,
Yeah.
with a mustache, he comes over to me, Danny Aiello. Leonardo would like to load your autograph or something like that. He walks over and asks me, and I'm saying, what? So I told Louis, I said, well, anyway, there's a Monsignor who's at the entrance of the place who I knew, who at the beginning of the party was there. He said, Danny, before you say go tonight, would you say goodbye? I said, yes, I'll stop by. I get up prematurely out of that table after all these things happen with Leonardo, and I start walking toward the Monsignor. Leonardo apparently thinks I'm going and starts running after me. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Louis with me, and he stops me and he starts saying, I loved you. You made me cry in Once Around. And he's starting to compliment me where I'm getting embarrassed. So I jump up. I said, I loved you in Aviator. You were great in Gangs of New York. So this is generally what I do. When a person starts hitting me with
You
those
slam
things,
it.
I stop it. And then we got pictures of it. He'll show
That's
you.
so
Louis will show you.
cool.
But it happens to me constantly.
Of course, you're very lovable and you're an inspiration. So you're an inspiration on the screen, and at the same time, I feel like your personality comes through too. You know what I mean? Like you can tell that you are who you are, and right away you are who you are.
But I don't know who I am.
Yeah, but I think that you do. I think that you do. I know that's the name of your book. I'm not going to argue with whoever came up with the title.
It's
but
very interesting. And
Yeah.
I'll just stop after saying this. When I'm playing a character, quite naturally I know who I am because I investigate the character. I find out where he's from in my own head. That's making it up. And I know the words, but the words of somebody else have written for me. And I actually recite those words that are written for me, so it's not me. But I understand that is me at that particular time playing a character. Outside of that, I doubt myself so many times. I'm saying, yeah, who am I really? What do I really feel about this? And I question myself since I was a child because I had so many uncertainties as a child. When I was 6 and 7 years old, I was placed in the first row in my classrooms because the people loved me. The actors, not the actors, the teachers loved me and put me in the front, and I was also small. And I was terrified by being in the front because I had to scratch myself all the time. And why? I had eczema, and eczema was terrible at the particular time. I would rip myself apart. I'm talking about scratching myself all over myself. It affected me so badly that it hurt my personality. It hurt my ability to be able to speak with other people. And the only time that I was safe was because I was a great reader. I could read, and that reading, for some reason, I had no idea then, took me away from myself. I was a structured reader. I knew what I was doing, and when I was in the front and the teacher would ask me to read, I would get up and read. But if they asked me a question, I was helpless. My personality was, remember I left school early in life and joined the Army at the age of 17 because I was 2 years behind. And why was I 2 years behind? Because of eczema. I was hospitalized twice and lost 2 years in school. So I was in school 2 years older than kids who were younger than me, and I was like a schmuck, excuse my language, sitting there in the school 2 years older than everyone else. So I left and joined the Army at 17. But
that's still with you, that experience for you of
always,
this self-doubt.
always has been,
So
yes.
still to this day, even after all of the
Yes,
success and
yes.
all of the accolades from your peers,
Yes.
and you
And
have
all the
this,
awards, I got God knows, major awards. I don't know, Louis knows better than me. I think it's 34 major acting awards.
that's huge.
And I'm talking things, I'm talking about this, that, I'm Golden Globe, I'm Academy Award, there were so many things, and even when I got it, why was I not able to be joyful?
Yeah.
Why was I not be able to, oh, wow,
It's
why?
too
I don't
bad.
know.
But you weren't able to do it even for a minute, and then you stop yourself, or even the whole time you feel like you could never feel joyful.
You know, I have a beautiful wife, Sandy, who I've been married to my whole life. It's the only woman that I've been with. And I think if she was an outward person capable of telling, because she's like me, she's a Gemini, she can't express her feelings. I mean, she cannot say you were great last night. That's the one I would love to hear say, Danny, you whipped me, you were so great last night. If I would hear her say that, that would be enough. But Louis can tell you.
Wait,
Louis,
really? She's never said that to you after
yes,
something?
we should.
Singing she has.
Singing.
Singing, your last gig at the...
Well, the last gig at singing, she
the Brick
came
House.
over to me. We were at the Brick House in Wyckoff, New Jersey. We sold the place out. There was new music I was putting out, you know, the things I had mentioned to you about blues and so forth. And at the end of the show, backstage, she looked at me and she said, Danny, you were great. Now, if she knew what that did to me, I expressed, you know, but I expressed to how I felt, but maybe I wasn't able to do it as much as I should have. It was the greatest feeling that I ever had. And also, even my kids, they take me for granted.
Well,
They don't
that's what
t-
kids do.
I know that, but I don't know that. But I know that
But that's
now.
what kids do.
Yeah.
Yes. But
And to be able to hear my kids say, but now I don't blame them for anything,
Right.
because acting is acting, and what it is. I sometimes sit back and I resent the fact that, oh, I love this actor. You know, they're talking about someone other than me.
What
Say,
about
what
me?
about me? What do you mean my favorite actors? What about your father? They could never see me, probably, because when they watch me on the stage, you know what they see? And they see me in film? They say, that's you, Dad.
Right.
Well, I take great pride in saying, yes, that is me, because I try and bring myself to the screen. I try to bring those things that are beneficial to me. Hopefully it would be to audiences watching me beneficial. You know, at the beginning of my career, critics would say, oh man, he's a natural. They were talking about Marlon Brando. I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't even put together a proper constructed sentence. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't study. I didn't know what acting was. I just did it. So they said he's a natural. And I accepted that as an insult. I thought
Oh, sure.
natural at that time of my career was an insult to say he's untrained.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was untrained.
But that just shows what you're sensitive about.
that's right.
It's not. It's a reflection of what you're struggling with internally.
yes.
It's not the truth, the
The
fact
kid's a
of the matter.
therapist too. I knew it. I knew it. That's what she is, besides this wonderful person interviewing people.
You don't realize it, but I actually was.
I
am a
know.
therapist.
I know that. I can see it in you. I can see the way you're studying.
Before I started this, I had a therapy practice.
Oh my God. You would be very helpful to me, and you are here.
Well, let's do it separately. We'll go have some therapy sessions. But it's true.
Yeah.
That was just what was up for you,
Yeah.
but not the reality of it.
Yeah.
But isn't that interesting? And it's the same thing where all of these years, everybody's coming up to you. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, first of all, he's having not just a moment, because he's huge and getting better and better and better and better.
Yes,
I mean,
love
really,
it.
I could go on and on
Yeah,
about
I
how
love
good
the
he
kid. I
is
do,
as an
yeah.
actor. But now with this Quentin Tarantino movie, did you see it?
I have not seen it, but I hope I'm not going against you, but someone who just saw it said it was the worst picture they'd ever seen.
That's fine. It's a split, I think. I think it's a 50-50 split, and I think it depends on your taste for Tarantino.
Yeah.
So, did you like Pulp Fiction?
I didn't see Pulp Fiction, but I'll tell you what I saw last week. It was the most insane picture I've ever seen, Dusk Till Dawn. Dusk
I don't know
Till
that.
Dawn.
What is that?
It was the craziest movie. People turned into vampires.
Oh, I don't do that.
If you saw it must have cost $100 million with the changes. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
I can't do that whole fantasy sci-fi
Oh, it
thing.
was
That's not
incredible.
for
It
me.
was great. That was the picture. But Pulp Fiction, I saw some of it. I saw Harvey was in it. Harvey.
Oh, Keitel, yeah,
Keitel.
yeah.
And oh God, no, and the English actor, was it Oldman? It wasn't Oldman. It was Roth.
Oh,
I think
Tim Roth. Tim
yeah,
Roth.
Good actor.
Yes.
And the other people.
John Travolta,
Yeah,
Bruce
John-
Willis, Uma Thurman.
Samuel
L. Jackson.
Who's in every movie. I can't stand him, and I can't say he works too much. That's what I mean. Samuel, you work too much. I made you.
Take
If
a
it wasn't for
break.
Do the Right Thing and you talking about me,
That's
you wouldn't
right.
be as famous.
Do the Right Thing. By the way, your
Yeah.
friend Spike Lee.
Yeah.
So I met him recently. I did a piece with him.
Oh, good.
So I met him. I went out to his offices in Brooklyn, and now I was doing a print article for the New York Times,
Wow.
focused on him. Right? So I'm out there doing that, and I say to him, "You've got to come on my podcast." And he said, well, "What's it like?" And I said, "Well, it's kind of like Terry Gross, but it's less structured, like very relaxed. We're just going to talk or whatever." And I said, "I had Danny Aiello on the show, and Michael Imperioli, who
Yeah.
was in where he worked together with on Summer of Sam." I said, and he said, "Send me Aiello and Imperioli." And I said, "Oh, you mean you want to talk to them? Because I think they'll vouch for me." He said, "I don't need to talk to them. Just send me theirs." Because he
Right.
wanted to hear what you and I talked
Right,
about.
right.
Because he values
Oh, he loves
you.
me. Tell him, Louie.
Right?
He's
Of
crazy.
course, he's crazy about
No,
you.
he loves me. So he calls me up. He calls me sir, which I resent, but he does. And he asks me constantly. We just did. He had what they call a 35th anniversary.
30.
Oh, I
Excuse
know
me,
that Do the Right
30th,
Thing party.
And I was there.
Yeah. You went there?
He asked me. I
Okay.
had to go. So They were only he and I, and Rose came. Rosie Perez was there before me.
Okay.
And then I came, and I was the only one there with him. And I have to tell you, I must have seen 200,000 people in the street. I have never seen so many people up every street. I couldn't see the street, just heads of people. It was huge. I couldn't believe it, right, Lou? And I did that, and that was it. But they asked me, was it the New York Times? It wasn't the Times. It was
Vanity Fair, I think.
no, not Vanity. I'm talking about. They asked me to do some interviews. They were going to do clips of mine and use them.
No, that was the thing at Hollywood on CNN.
No, CNN.
Okay.
CNN had the clips they were doing. And I'm sorry, I jumped away from you. And they saw shorts on me. They said, we want to use it, we want to pay you money and so forth. And they were paying an exorbitant amount of money. And then when I saw the clips, I said, you can't use them.
Why?
Because I didn't like them. Because they were cutting them in such a way that it was, to me, it was embarrassing. And I didn't want it to be repeated nationally. It was enough, it was in the movie. Nigga, you know, saying these words over, you black. I said, I didn't want to do that. I know it's acting. They've seen me in the movie. I want them to see the full context of the movie.
Definitely.
Not to take a piece out and have me there like a jerk, you know what I mean? Like saying this black dad, you this, that. I didn't want that. So I withdrew.
Yeah.
He's kind, and I had sent a lot of people to him, you know, who had asked me, you know, do you think Spike could help me out? And I sent many people to him, you know, kids, maybe black kids who had nowhere to go and were looking for things. That kid from Five Napkins.
And does he help?
Yeah, he went there. They would go because he's helpful to anybody who is aggressively wanting to work.
Well, I remember. Oh, it's funny. It just reminded me because I remember one of your stories in your book was that he approached you early on.
Yes.
And then you said, no, this isn't for me.
Exactly.
And then he came back to you again.
Kept coming.
Right, so it wasn't just once a return.
Right.
He kept coming.
Yes.
So in fact, I used you again. I went back to his place and I say, don't forget, we have to do the podcast. And he said, the podcast. I said, yeah, I'm not going to give up. I'm like Danny Aiello, you and Danny Aiello. You kept going after him, I'm going to keep going after you.
He went after me like crazy.
And he got you.
Invited me to games, came to North Carolina when I was shooting Once Around. He came to North Carolina to get me. It just kept doing. I thought it was too much of a.
But see, even after this, I can't believe that you didn't let it sink into your confidence, like into your psyche.
Phony confidence by me. Let me tell you, we're walking up the Golden Globe and the Academy Awards. He's sitting in the audience, and so am I. I'm up for Best Supporting Actor. He's up for Screenplay. I walk up the aisle, and the most confident thing I ever said to him, remember, I brought you to the dance. That's what I said.
He must have loved that.
Oh, he did.
I bet he loved it.
Yes. But that was the most courageous thing I had ever said.
That's beautiful.
Well, he feels. He says things like this to me. We made history.
Oh, you did.
That's what he says to me.
Yeah.
He said, Danny, I said, you know something, when I see advertising on this and the picture when they show it in television, I never hear them say Danny Aiello was nominated for an Academy Award. I mean, this is complimentary to you. Oh, don't worry about that. He said, listen, Danny, Glory. He said, Denzel Washington won for Glory. Does anyone talk about Glory today?
Right,
That's what he said to me.
Nobody ever talks about Glory.
Everybody talks because the picture was.
Yeah, it really meant something.
Matthew Broderick, who I love with a mustache, they playing a general. Are you serious? He looks 17 years old.
He still looks 17.
I know,
with
and
gray
I love
hair.
him, and I love him. But, and he said, we made history. Do you I would see quotes that he would send to me. You would flip.
Oh,
The
really?
things
That
he
people
says about what we did. It isn't him. When talking to me, he's talking about him and I. And of course, Ruby Dee, and of course, Ozzie Davis, who I loved. I loved Ozzie. Ozzie comes to me one day. It was not a very expensive picture, Do the Right Thing. So we couldn't afford vans and things of that nature. I got paid well in it, but not as well as I usually do, but we had no place to stay. We stayed in a school. Now, when we walked through those streets in Bed-Stuy, There were vials on the floor. There were needles on the ground. They even told us, don't watch where you step. You may step on a needle and so forth. 2 of my sons were in the movie with me. Now, Danny was the stunt coordinator. He's the boy that died of pancreatic cancer, 2010. And Rick, my son, who played the police officer who killed Radio Raheem, he strangled him. He's terrified of that, even to this day. He said he hates to go into neighborhoods. They look at him, they want to kill him.
Oh, so they remember.
Yeah, I said,
and even if they don't know why, they associate.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he says they bring it up to him. Sometimes he feels real bad about
Yeah.
that. But I'll never forget what Ossie Davis said to me. He said, I love your sons. I love them. He said, they are so good. This is Ossie Davis,
Right.
a wonderful actor and a wonderful human being. And he blew me away. And
So that was meaningful to you.
let me tell you the one thing. Some of my friends were not enamored by Spike Lee. They saw his, because he was doing his thing, And let me tell you something. Danny Aiello, the third, dies. We're in the funeral home, Campbell Funeral Home on Columbus Avenue. Place was packed. A lot of actors came for him, not for me, for him, because they loved him. And people that he taught how to stunt, people that he stunt people around. It was jammed with people. I'm sitting down front with my family by myself, all the way down front, not even noticing who was there. Later I found out that a person in the back kept walking down as far as I was. I was on the aisle in the front, stopped and went back. Came down again, stopped and went back. Third time, comes down, kneels next to me and he says, can I say something? Spike Lee. He wants to do a eulogy for
Oh
Danny.
wow.
He gets up and does it. Talks about Ricky, talks about me, and he talks about my son and what it was to have the 3 of us together on the set. Louis was not enamored, our buddy, with Spike until he himself saw this. Blew everybody away. It was so meaningful. He didn't have, this is a joint where he would, this is a place where he probably would not feel comfortable.
Yeah.
He's there as a director and he walks down an aisle without anyone being with him, all by himself in the place, and does that.
Yeah.
So I loved him. I loved him before that, but this was
really meaningful. Wow. But that's I see there's a dichotomy going on there that it's hard to write. I'm gonna turn it to, I don't want to put you in a bad mood, but Scorsese, of course, we talked about last time.
Yeah, I don't like him.
You don't like him?
No, he's a little punk.
So he didn't put you in The Irishman?
Great actor. No, he wouldn't put me in anything.
No, but
let me
I
give
thought
you
it
a
was
story.
going to be time.
Since we spoke the last time, let
Yes.
me give you some new development.
Oh, please.
Right, Lou? We did a movie called
Brooklyn Lobster.
which I did, but we didn't talk about when we were in the thing.
No,
okay?
I don't remember
Now, you
talking
know
about
that Marty has not put me in anything. When I was at the Academy Award, I was representing one of his movies. Because I was nominated the following year, they gave me a movie to represent. And the
Oh,
movie-
you read that? You mean you read
to
the
introduce.
right?
Goodfellas, okay? And up on the stage for millions of people, I said, I am the only Italian American in this country that's not in this movie. I didn't cut him on, I just said, I'm not in it, okay? And every single time I volunteered to do things for one of his movies for nothing, just to be in the movie. Now keep in mind, when I did that, I was hot. I was all over the place. Knockout, Marquee, all over. I had about 3 movies, so I'm hot. So
Yeah.
there's, I'm hot.
Yeah.
So, but never would he call me. And we would tell him that we're available, and he would never call us to come in. So I began to think. I have my reasons why.
Well, I know what your reasons why are. I think, right? Because there's the drug issue.
Yeah.
That's-
I think that could have been it, and but I'm not saying he does, but I know that there are some sets you go on that people are straight, are thought of as problems if people are doing things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People are doing drugs.
Right, they're like a buzzkill.
You don't want to strike.
Yeah.
You don't want a straight guy. And I'm a guy that was outwardly against drugs. Now, you notice in my book, I never said that. I said that maybe he thought I was a bad actor. Maybe, maybe I stopped
Right,
it.
you never said that, but you had told me that when we were
Yes,
talking.
I never
so
said
that's
that.
why I
didn't
knew
want
it.
to put it in the book because I don't know that. I thought that. I said, what other reason could it be? What?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, throwing things around. Now, we shoot to Brooklyn Lobster, okay? I go to my movie. I'm the star of the movie. It was a small movie it's a wonderful movie. Robert Ebert loved it, raved about it. I think it cost about $50 to make. This kid, Kevin Jordan, directed it and written it. He had a little place out in Long Island called Lobster Farm. It was a lobster farm,
Okay.
Jordan Lobster Farm. So I'm doing the movie. It's based on a true story. Now, I go to see the movie, okay? I'm sitting in the theater. The movie comes on, and it says, Marty Scorsese presents Danny Aiello in Brooklyn Lobster.
Wait, what? What is that about?
Kevin Jordan was an ex-NYU student working under Marty Scorsese, so my feeling is that he was doing Kevin a favor to put his name. He was never a producer. He was never on the set. He saw the footage. The footage constantly was going to.
Wow.
That's when I began to think. I'm saying, well, maybe it wasn't that I was a bad actor in his eyes. If I was, why in every frame of the movie that I happen to be in, would he put his name associated with mine?
Right, but here's the thing, right? If he wasn't involved, he would have had to see the movie and said, I'll put my name on
They
this.
sent him, yeah.
Right, he wouldn't do
Kevin
it if it
sent
wasn't
him back.
good.
So he had to make a justification. Well, Danny's terrific in the movie.
Stop, this is impossible. Nobody would ever think that you're a bad actor. That's not a possibility. It never was.
Yeah.
That could have never been the reason.
Yeah, well, but you see, being the person that I am,
I know, but
I had to
it's-
take that trick. I had to say, well,
Yeah.
maybe that's the reason. Maybe he just hated me as an actor. And then I would see some of the actors he had in some of his movies, and they weren't that spectacular. The stars were. The stars, always Bobby, always great. Harvey, always great. And remember something, as a director, to have those kind of actors in your hands when you're starting as a director is not too bad.
Right.
You're not in bad shape.
Right, and then you get to hold on to them.
That's right.
Film after film after film.
After film, and they all grew together.
So did he ever hear any whisperings of
Oh,
the
he
fact
was
that you
afraid of
think?
me.
How do you know?
Well, I know because he steps across the street if he sees me walking down. The
You
Academy
really?
Awards, he's coming up the stairs, he saw me going down, he went the other way.
Really? So
Yeah,
why?
should I
Because he
tell him
knows?
Brian Hamill said? I yelled at him
Yeah,
once.
yeah. What happened?
I came into, I think it was Sardi's. I'm not sure. Brian Hamill said it wasn't Sardi's. Brian Hamill's one of the great still photographers. You know his brother, Hamill. Dennis Hamill. He's a writer. Pete Hamill. The
Yeah.
great Pete Hamill.
Oh, yeah.
Those are his brothers. And
Okay.
they're all very talented people.
So they're all talented.
And Brian
successes.
said, Danny, what are you kidding? Don't you remember what you did? I said, what? You came in a restaurant, you started out beat the, you
Oh,
started.
that's right. I forgot.
He
Go.
said-
What did you do?
Yeah, I started. He said, I don't remember that incident the way Brian does, but Brian never lies. And he has a great memory.
So
He
that's why he avoids you.
He said, Danny, you started yelling. I'm working with him. I'm doing the still photography on the movie, and you're screaming at him at a distance, not right there.
So
and
did
who
he
was
hear
sitting
you?
with him? They said, Brian told me Joey Pesci was there. And who I'm not a major fan of,
Joe Pesci. So since then, though, there's been no interaction with Scorsese. With
no,
you.
we have none.
That's it.
None.
It's done.
And that's why, obviously, I could have been in the Irish. There's no question. In this, I'm playing. Have you ever been in love, me girl?
Wait, so
or
let's-
have you felt the pain? I've never. What is it, Louis?
Sooner be in jail.
I'd sooner be in jail myself to be in love again. The girl I love is beautiful. I'll have you all to know. And I met her in the garden, in the Praties, where the Praties grow. Praties in Irish is potatoes.
Oh, okay.
She was the kind of creature, boys, that nature didn't tend to walk right through the world, me boys, without the Grecian bend. Nor did she wear the chignon, I'll have you all to know. And I met her in the garden where the praties grow. I'm playing an Italian Irishman. I don't speak with an accent in the movie, but the father, this is a true story.
Okay.
Her father used to get up and sing Irish songs because he was half Italian, half Irish. But his father was a man that used to sing, and my father, the character's father, used to sing up until the age I was 7, right? And I tried to mimic him. So what I do is when I get up at a party we have or something, I sing Irish songs. With a bad Irish accent.
Oh, because all your songs, I wasn't used to hearing you singing the Irish song.
No, because that's not the way I sing.
Right.
I sing Danny Boy in the movie too.
So all right, let's talk about the
movie.
film.
Yeah.
So here we are in or on Long Island because you're filming this movie.
One moment.
So, and it may or may not be out around like the holidays or something this year, right? Okay, possibly, or maybe early 2020 or something like that.
Right.
So you've been filming for a couple of weeks. So tell me a little bit about how that whole process is for you. So you like to be home doing nothing.
Yeah.
And here you are at a hotel
Yes.
in Long Island for like weeks of filming.
I was approached by this woman who read my book and said, I've been pursuing you for some time. When I read my book, I realized how much you were like my father. So we agreed, based on just that explanation that she had given me, to meet her in New York City, not in an office anywhere, not in an official capacity, just in 5 Napkins on 45th Street, 9th Avenue. That's where Louis and I hang out.
I know that
She
place.
came in. Mm-hmm. Her name is Deirdre O'Connor. She sat there and we talked, and I just adored the person. She was just a nice, nice person. She gives me the script. I take it home and read it, and I called Louis. I said, Louis, this is the best script I've read in 20 years. I have to do this script. There's no money, Danny. I don't give a hell how much money. Well, it's pennies, you know. I don't care. I have to do this script. Now, the truth is I'm worried about it. Do I want to dedicate myself to 4 solid weeks? I got the biggest role. I'm in almost every scene. If you can swallow that, you know, it's all right. To think that I'm in every scene is enough to drive people away.
That's going to drive me and everybody else to the theater, I'm just saying.
I want to tell you that the script is such family, funny, sad. I promise you, you'll love what this girl did.
Okay, so what is it called?
It's called One Moment.
One Moment.
And the reason One Moment, they said, if you get stuck on how good the past was, you'll miss how good it is.
Sure. Okay.
It is now.
Right,
You'll
the
miss
present.
how good it is. Yeah, it's a beautiful film.
All right, so we're going to see that. Everybody's going to see it when it comes out.
Yeah, I hope so.
And we're going to also listen to your music.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you also. Something that you just said, it reminded me of something in your book again. So I'm reading your book, and it's like you've been doing a million things, like since the beginning. You had a million different steps to get to acting even, period. So we could spend all day, we're not going to. But it seems to me like things kept happening for you, like doors kept opening. Everybody liked you. Everybody said, oh, I have a thing for you here, or do you want to help me out with this project? And it just kept happening. Like it doesn't sound like you ever had to fight for anything.
No, it came.
Right?
I never auditioned.
I do not think that's
I
common
stopped auditioning
at all.
my second year. I completely stopped, and I didn't stop because I thought I was special. I thought that I couldn't, auditioning, I could not get anything. I believe that, for instance, if you're an actress, and I've seen some of your work, was saying, you come in, I'm directing you. I would hire you on the basis of one thing. The relationship that I have and the exchange of dialogue that we both had, I could tell that you would be excellent in the part that I want you for. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Now, when you go in there and when you're looking at someone, they generally put you through terrible situations. Not that that's their intent, but they don't even know what their character should or would be. The writer has an idea. Even the writer sometimes doesn't know who that character is. They bring actors in and they have actors read for these roles and they photo them. You understand?
Yeah.
What an actor does is they come into a reading for a part, actor, actress, and the director's sitting there, often the writer. They have ideas of who their characters are. They've developed. I mean, the writer has developed the character, and the interpretation of that character is done then by a director. But they're never finished. Now, they're always looking for actors to come in and read, and they'll see at the very moment a person physically comes in is not right, but they sometimes allow the person to read. And in that reading, that person who's not getting the part may give a reading that will determine who that character is, who that director wants that character to be, and who that writer wants. They come up with ideas, and they'll say, he's not getting the role, but the way he played that character, that's who it is. So many of the directors and writers get all their ideas from the actors. So not only is the actor serving as a person trying to get the job, but also giving them information as to who this character is.
Right,
or
so
who she
ideas,
is.
yeah,
You
yeah,
follow what I mean?
yeah. So they're giving, even if they don't land the job, they're still
Absolutely.
giving them this information
Absolutely.
to help form the movie.
When I did my series, Della Ventura, I was the person who made the decisions, okay, on who the characters were. I was working every day, so I didn't have time. So in my camper, they would give me the auditions. And right from the auditions, I would look at what the people were doing, and I would get tremendous ideas from these actors.
That's so
So
interesting.
we use those actors. Which, you know, the idea is to give them the part if they're
Sure.
good enough. We want to. But often there's only one person that's going to get the part, and they may read 50 people, and they'll get ideas about.
Well, that's how the creative process is, right?
Yeah.
You get ideas from all over, when they're
Absolutely.
unexpected also, but that's how it
Absolutely.
works.
But a director goes in after seeing 50 people do that role and has a great idea of who this character is.
That's so interesting.
They don't know, they're just reading words, and you know what I
Right.
mean? And then later, when actors come in and perform it, they're learning who the hell
Right.
they are.
All right, Moonstruck, when you think back to it, what do you think of? Like,
I
don't tell me
just-
it was the greatest movie ever, but like, is there a little something that happened on set?
Norman Jewison I loved. Yeah, there was something in the set that happened. I don't know if I should tell you.
Of course you should tell
I'm
me.
not going to tell you who the person is that did it. There was someone that was passing wind.
Oh, did you talk about this in the book? I feel like you did. I think I've heard this.
And we all sit and we all thought it was the old guy. I'm not gonna
Right,
say-
right.
And
Yeah.
it happened to be one of the actresses. And how did I find out? I found out because at the time I was doing a play on Broadway, and there were 3 nuns. They were playing 3 nuns in the show. And I was telling them the story, and they said, "We know who it is." And I said, and they named it. They said, "We called her the biggest fart layer when we walked."
But it wasn't Cher, for the record.
No, definitely not Cher. Definitely not.
What about...
We all thought it was Louis Gus. Louis Gus is the uncle who said, "The moon," you know, not the old man, the next to the old man. We thought it was him because he surprisingly, he would leave. We would be in a whole bunch of us together, and suddenly one person would leave, and then, whoa! And we'd look at each other and say, and it happened every time because Norman Jewison is a stage director. He's a great director, and I love him so much. He would set a stage, so we rehearsed before we actually did it. Most pictures you don't rehearse. Some directors like to rehearse, some want it cold.
Yeah.
They want you to come
Fresh.
in and, you know, but they don't want you rehearsed and practiced. But he set up things so you knew when you were on the set where you were going, exactly what you were going to do. So we'd have these sets and the actors would all be in it, and then one person would leave. Sometimes we didn't know who it was. We tried to figure who was the person that left. And this person would leave it and then go, and we were left with stink.
And that's what sticks out to you.
This person happened to
decades
be
later.
a vegetarian who
Yeah.
did a lot of passing of wind, you know.
It is so funny. So what about, was there an incident that you haven't told the story to already on The Godfather, Part 2?
This particular thing, Piantangeli was played by Michael Gazzo, and in the scene I had to strangle him. And I had to come from behind the bar, and he was set up by my brother Carmine, who was sitting at the bar with him. He says, "I don't understand this $50, you give him something like that." He says, "Oh, no, it's no problem." I come up behind him, I get a garrote and I put it around his neck, and I drag him into the phone booth, and I'm trying to kill him, and in walks a cop, and he said, "What's going on here?" And he walks to the back, and I run out without killing him, and I yell at the bartender, "You open your effing mouth, I'll kill you." And I run out, we have the gun battle out in the street. Rehearsing that particular scene, I had no line. There was no line that I had. All I had to do was come from the back, garrote him, and drag him out. He said, "Let's rehearse." Francis Coppola says. So we're rehearsing the scene. And as I come around, I throw the garrote over his head to his neck. And I said, "Michael Corleone says hello." And he says, "Cut." He said, "What did you say?" And I was so beside myself because this is a big director. It's one of the first things I'm doing. And I said, I think I said somebody, I think I said, Michael Corleone says hello. He says, good, keep it in.
Brilliant.
Now I know I might have told you that because it's all over
Yes.
the internet.
It's a great story, though.
But keep in mind, I had no idea why I said it. I knew that in the picture, we don't know who hired us. We're talked about, but there was no...
Oh, so it's not that obvious, not that clear.
That's right.
Right, gotcha.
And no one said, what did that mean? People would ask, what does that mean? They asked me, I said, I have no idea. I didn't know who was sending me there. I mean, my part didn't tell me who was sending me there. I didn't know who I was working with. There were statements made by, oh, he sent them. You know, this guy sent, the guy from Miami sent them. No one really knew. I didn't know. I just said the line to cover. I said, how can I do this without saying something? And I said, Michael Corleone says, so I blamed it on Michael. But it really wasn't Michael who had it done, whatever.
Who was it then who had it done? I can't remember. Who was it?
Well, the Jewish guy.
Oh, it was Hyman Roth?
Yeah, Hyman Roth. Yeah.
Oh, so but he still let it stay in?
Yeah.
How interesting. That is interesting.
But I had no, I wasn't smart enough to know what, I just said words.
But so it just came out, you were acting, you were in
Right,
whatever
right.
that
Whatever
zone
the hell
is
it
that you
was.
get into
Yeah.
when you know who you are because you're someone
Yeah.
else.
Was I trying to blame Michael Corleone? You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
said Michael Corleone said hello.
Yeah.
But even if I killed him, he wouldn't know anyway what I said. You
Right.
know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
dead.
yeah.
So the whole thing was very confusing. When you see it again, you say, what
I
the hell
will
does that mean?
and I will, because if it's ever on TV,
Yeah.
I will keep watching.
And
Like if
also-
I'm going through the.
And also, who I never met Brando, and I wanted to meet Brando, and this is a story I never told you. It's briefly. I was doing Della Ventura, and I was offered The Last Don, which made a lot of money, and you know the big Les Moonves gave me these jobs. I mean, he made me so much money.
Oh, Les Moonves?
I loved him.
Really?
I know he went through this damaging stuff recently. He said, I'd love you to do this, and he offered me 3 things. Pick your choice, play a priest, play a fireman, or play a private detective, and I'll have the things written for you. And I ended up doing the detective, which was Della Ventura. So now we're at Carnegie Hall with all the buyers of television, and I'm being introduced as doing The Last Don, and I had just done Della Ventura. So just before going out on the stage, I'm handing an envelope, okay? And I open it up, it says to be hand-delivered to Danny Aiello. I open the envelope, and it says, Dear Danny, and it's from Brando. And he says to me, I wish I was as exquisite as you were in The Last Don. Now keep in mind, I thought The Last Don sucked. I thought the makeup was terrible. I loved myself as the old man in The Last Don. I didn't particularly like it, but it won Emmys, it won everything, you know.
Yeah,
And it won
it was
everything.
respected.
It was the most watched whatever. And he wrote this, and I have the letter framed. And then he goes on to say, you did so much for civil rights, because he was into that. I don't know what the hell I did for civil rights.
What did you do? What did he
was
mean?
adding do the
Do
right
the right
thing.
thing, he meant. Oh my God, so just like Spike Lee said,
He said
what
The
you
Last
did.
Don, and he said, and what he said about you did so much for civil rights.
He meant do the right thing? That's
Yeah.
so interesting.
Yeah. Meant to do the right thing.
And little did you know that Brando was watching you this whole
I had no idea.
time.
One of the greats.
That's incredible.
Never met him.
That's
Never
too bad
met
you never
him.
met him. But you know what? Your interactions are priceless. You didn't need to meet him.
Yeah.
What you got from him,
Yeah.
you didn't even need to.
I'm going to send you a copy of the letter so you can see it.
Do that. I would
Yeah,
love
I'll do
to.
it, right, Louis? Yeah, I got to show it to him.
I want to see. That's amazing.
Make sure Louis has everything on you so I can get in touch with you.
Okay.
Who
This
does she
is-
look like? Does she look like the kid who traveled me all over the country?
No.
You don't see that in the face? No.
There goes
First of all, she's blonde.
Not the blonde, the brunette, who went to Italy with me and everything.
I don't know that one.
Talking about you, love you talking.
Debbie.
Not Debbie Zola, she's my makeup artist.
No, but the only one I know that traveled with you was the blonde. What's her name?
She's not a blonde, Louis, she's brown hair. You saw her as a blonde?
Yeah.
Looks just like her. Yeah, but she's got her eyes. She took care of me.
Well, next time you go to Italy, I'm coming with you,
well,
not her.
Let me tell you this. The trouble, my son Danny, may he rest in peace.
Yeah.
I needed someone to take care of me when I was on the road. All the things that I had to do, I didn't know what was happening.
Jose Ferrer directed it.
That's major,
Jose
Jose
Ferrer
Ferrer.
directed
He's
it.
major, right? He was major.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He was wonderful with me, and I met his ex-wife, Rosemary Clooney, who took me to California.
Wait, Rosemary Clooney was his ex-wife?
Yeah, what was it?
And she's George Clooney's aunt, or she was?
Yeah, that's
Ah,
right.
it's so interesting.
Yeah, and Rosemary, I didn't know Rosemary, but I loved the way she sung. And she asked me to sing. I didn't even, well, she saw me in a movie or something sing, and she said, and I sang at the Agnes, what is it, the Agnes Woolley Hall or something, where they had the Academy Awards. And I sung two Irving Berlin songs, Always, and something with the sun. I forget. I'll be loving you always. And I'm on a plane flying, and who am I sitting next to? Irving Berlin's daughter. And when I said, I have to sing this song, she said, that was my, Blue Skies. Blue Skies. She said, my father's favorite song was Always.
Really?
That's what his
You have so many of these
I
moments.
know.
So many. It's really incredible.
Yeah.
I think you blow me away. I know it doesn't matter because I'm not Sandy telling you that or your kids telling you that.
That's very nice that you held on to that. But it means a lot to me.
But
that
really.
you say it. Louis, I get excited when people say it right. I just don't know how to react to it.
I know, I guess.
That's it.
But also a lot of people, like a lot of famous people, don't like their fans almost, I think. Maybe I won't say a lot, but I think there are plenty of people who kind of fans.
I see that all the time.
Right?
I've seen
You're
it
not
with
like
my
that,
friends,
though.
and I hate their behavior.
Yeah.
I've seen friends, I'm not going to mention their names, sitting at a table, a person walks over. You have to understand me. I could be sitting there eating. If a person comes to me, what do, Louis?
You always stop and give them attention.
I cannot ignore that.
Yeah.
I cannot do it because I know I'm a public figure and I'm up there. And listen, any actor who tells you, I don't want that, they're full of shit, excuse my language. The people go into that because they want that. It's just that it gets old to some of the people and they don't want it. They don't want it later.
You know what?
Go ahead.
Your buddy Samuel L. Jackson was on 60 Minutes maybe 6 months ago, and he said something just like that.
Is that
he
right?
said, when an actor tells you, they don't want this attention, this is a look at me profession.
Yes.
I don't buy it.
I feel the same way.
This is not verbatim, but that's the kind of thing that he
feel
said.
it, and I could name friends of mine who got up. You know who I'm not going to mention their names. I mean, how could you do that? I seen a wheelchair. I saw a kid in a wheelchair refuse because the kid came to me first in the wheelchair. And the other actor who was with me in the film said, I don't want to. Now, why?
Yeah.
Why
I don't know.
And then I saw, I'm eating. Can you see I'm eating? And these guys, I'm saying, how could you do that? What? How can you do that?
Seriously, though, people are different. Not everybody's the same. Not everybody has the same heart. Not everybody feels for other people the same way.
Yeah.
People come in all shapes
You're
and
absolutely
sizes,
right.
stripes,
And
whatever.
That's the way I should be thinking because it is. No one is really the same as the other.
Right, and you are who you are, and it's a beautiful thing, and everybody's lucky. Whoever's there coming up to you, whoever's watching you, they're lucky.
Thanks, kid.
I'm going to ask you one more question. Let me think
Go
of
ahead.
a good, I don't know, I'm trying to think of it on the spot.
All
What do you
right,
think a good
okay.
closing question is for you
what,
for this?
babe?
A good closing question. What do you think?
I'm still going, babe.
How about,
We have a play coming up that we'll be doing on Broadway. It's called Pop. It's written by Michael Christopher. Are you familiar with him?
Uh-huh.
He won the, what did he win?
Pulitzer.
Pulitzer Prize for Shadowbox. And it's one of the great scripts that I've read, and it's already been optioned by my producer, Rose.
We have a great producer, too.
Yeah, she's won 5 Tonys. Her name is Rose Caiola. Are you familiar with that
Yes.
name?
And yeah,
She's the greatest.
Louis and I were talking about it before. It sounds good. So when is that coming to Broadway?
Well, we
you
don't
think?
know now because I'm with this, and the other thing is my life story, which is somebody else. We're making a movie.
Wait, you are?
Oh yeah, that's in the work, and we already have the script.
Oh.
And there's no problem with financing.
So
Financing
that's
is
going right now.
I'm sorry?
That's in the works right now.
That's in the works right now, yeah. Because
keep me
it's going to be
posted.
too old to do it. But keep in mind, I'm not starring in everything. I am in 50% of the film as me, with me now, the things I'm doing. But then you'll see me as 20,
Sure.
35, 50. You'll see 3 different guys playing. Well, actually 3 with the little boy.
Right with the little boy.
The little boy
Yeah.
playing me.
Well, it's like a Bronx Tale.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
yeah. You see him as a little kid,
Yeah,
or
but-
even Goodfellas
yeah.
had different
But
ages.
You'll see,
Bad
it's
analogy.
terrific.
I know. Why did I say that?
What?
I said,
Cut.
I said Bronx Tale. I said bad
I,
Terrible.
no, wait. A Bronx Tale is a bad analogy?
No, it's good. Good.
Is that one okay? But Goodfellas. Oh wait, Bronx Tale is Chaz Palminteri.
No, it's yeah, whatever.
That has nothing to do with Scorsese.
no.
Is there bad
No,
blood
no,
there?
I like.
No, but it's not going to be the same. His story is real. It's
my story's real.
Of course,
Yeah.
but so is a Bronx Tale.
No, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
What do you mean?
It's all bullshit. Excuse
What
my
do you
language.
mean?
3 guys wrote that Bronx Tale.
Wait.
Mike Starr,
What?
Renzulli, and Chaz. 3 guys. They had the big fallout. They haven't spoken. They're 2 actors, the other guy. One guy, Renzulli, is one of the writers from The Sopranos, one of the head writers. And Mike Starr was an actor who looked something like me. And Chaz Palminteri. They had a fallout. 2/3 of them left. He had the script. I'm talking about
Chaz.
Chaz.
Yeah.
Went to Bobby. Bobby got enamored by it. It wasn't true. There was a lot of BS involved in it, but you know, there were 3 guys writing it.
Wait, the story I heard
Ah,
from Chaz himself
yeah, well,
is that he wrote it as a one-man play, starred in it, did the whole thing himself. Are you telling me that's totally bogus?
3 guys.
So how do you know
It
this?
was
I
a
know.
movie.
I know the
It was a
guys.
movie
What
first.
was a movie? No.
Yeah, Bronx Tale was a movie first.
No. Before,
No,
I'm not
she
talking
knows
about
that,
the
but
Broadway
he said
play. I'm
the
talking
original
about,
writing one. Yeah.
Yeah, he says that he couldn't get work, and so he started writing for himself. So he started writing this one-man play to act in himself, a small thing.
3 guys wrote it.
And then that he kept kind of putting it down, like getting it better and better and better, like getting the waste out and making it a play that he performed in L.A. Like we're talking
that's
years
true.
and years and years ago.
No, it's true. He did do
Yeah.
one man, but it was based on the movie A Bronx Tale.
No, the move, but he. No,
He
no,
said
no,
he
no.
did it before,
He
and we
says
don't
he
know
did
that.
it- No, because
we don't know that. He might have done it before, and we didn't know. We thought he did it only after the play, after the picture.
Yeah.
But here's all I
Okay,
ask you.
okay,
Here's
yeah.
the only thing I would ask you is, we were told these things way when it was happening. Mike Starr knew me. And Renzulli knew me, because I got Renzulli a job. He stopped me on the street, and he said, "Hi, Danny Aiello and Mike." So I called up my agent. He told me he was an actor, the kid. Richard Astor was my agent. I said, "Richard, there's a wonderful actor." Anyway, I didn't even know the kid. Whatever. So Richard started to handle him. The kid gets in the Woody Allen movie with me. He's one of the little gangsters who beats me up in the car, or beats Woody up in the car. Ask anyone if they know Renzulli. Take this down, the name down.
Okay.
Renzulli and
Renzulli.
Mike Starr, because that's the source who told me. So whether it was true or not, it would start there. They will tell you everything.
So-
Everything that you want to know.
That's crazy.
He's an actor, Mike Starr.
So do they feel like they were screwed by him?
Oh, they don't talk to him. I haven't spoken to him in 25 years.
Oh, you're blowing my mind right now.
I
I
hate
can't
to do
believe
this
it.
to you, honey.
No, it's
Now let's say this. Maybe Chaz is telling a total truth. Maybe he is. I am telling you what
I hear
Renzulli
you.
and Mike Starr told me,
I
and
hear
didn't
you.
talk to them. They were great. They were writing together. That's what they said.
Wow.
Everyone knew it. Everyone around the neighborhood knew it. All the actors. Renzulli, Mike Starr.
I got you, and I have it on audio, so I can
Yeah.
just when I see it later, I'll
Check it out. Just see if you can touch with them and say, "I was wondering," so
Yeah,
forth and so
yeah.
on. Do a little investigative work.
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, I wouldn't normally do that, but
Yeah,
you
won't-
tell me
don't
what
wanna
you
go
tell
back
me.
and
But
kill Chaz with it,
that's so
because Chaz
interesting.
came up with the movies there. The
Right.
evidence. I mean, he
because
did
he
his
says
job.
that happened to him. He says that he was Cologero.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
So the point is, he was a success at what he did.
Yeah.
The movie was sold. He's going around. It was on Broadway. The strange thing is, not one Tony was given to that play. I mean, it sounds crazy. How could they not give a Tony nomination to the play, to someone in it?
Well, maybe I don't know. Did you see it? You
No.
didn't see it.
No,
I didn't see it either.
No, I didn't either.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this question.
Go ahead.
What's your biggest secret that you have never told anyone?
Wow. I'm such an open book. I wouldn't call it a secret, but I never cursed in front of my mother.